In the Republic of Serbia, April 22nd is observed as the National Holocaust, World War II Genocide and Other Fascist Crimes Victims' Remembrance Day. It is the most important memorial day in Serbia, with a particular relevance for the victims of Ustasha crimes. Serbs, Jews, Roma, anti-fascists and resistance fighters, women and children were killed by Ustasha during mass atrocities and crimes against the civilians at their homes and villages, or perished together in the Ustasha-run concentration camps. This year, we mark the 75th anniversary of the breakout from the notorious Jasenovac concentration camp, which took place on 22nd of April 1945. After the liquidation of female inmates on 21st of April, the remaining male inmates tried to overrun the Ustasha guards and escape. Out of hundreds that participated in the breakout, only few made it while the rest were killed. This was an act of heroism, an act against forced labor, starvation, humiliation, torture and death, an act of craving the human dignity, an act that still reminds us of dangers of xenophobia, racism, anti-Semitism, anti-Gypsyism, but also of dangers historical distortion and manipulation represents today more than ever. Just like the anniversary of the Warsaw Ghetto uprising, Yom HaShoah, that this year falls on 21st of April. And just like the sound of siren on Yom HaShoah stops traffic and pedestrians throughout Israel for 2 minutes of silent devotion, let's take some time to think about the victims and the ways we all can contribute that this monstrous crime can never happen again. And let's think of the ways we can contribute to preserve this memory and safeguard it from distortion and manipulation.
In Israel, we mark the 27th of Nisan in the Jewish calendar, falling this year on April 21st as Yom HaShoah VeHaGvura, to commemorate the uprising of Jews in Warsaw Ghetto during April and May 1943. This is an act of heroism, of Jewish resistance to oppose against all odds the final deportation of the Jews from the ghetto to the death camps. Serbia observes the April 22nd as the National Holocaust, World War II Genocide and Other Fascist Crimes Victims' Remembrance Day to commemorate another heroic act against all odds, the breakthrough of the remaining prisoners from Ustasha death camp of Jasenovac. These two events symbolize the common suffering of Jews and Serbs and the need to shed light not only on the atrocities perpetrated by others, but also the acts of heroism of the victims themselves to restore dignity with no real hope to survive.
Let me tell you about our project, the Holocaust, European Values and Local History. Well, in a nutshell, it's about 4 things: identifying Holocaust record and safeguarding it, empowering local archives and archivists to work with this, creating educational outreach programs in archives. In our case, we are in particular working with educational graphic novels. And 4, making local microhistories known to international audiences. Why are we doing this? Well, we want to contribute to combating historical distortion and denial. We want to present the history of Serbia to the international audiences, and we want to create new networks between experts, archivists, local Jewish and Roma communities, teachers, and international experts. And also, we are proudly contributing to the program Novi Sad European Capital of Culture 2021. So why is this important? It is important for better understanding of the Holocaust, both on local level, on the level of microhistories, but also to put these microhistories in a wider historical context, as the Holocaust was a European event. Also, we want to focus on human stories, on personal stories, on life, particularly pre-war life, but also return to life after the Holocaust. all these records are in the local archives. And another very important, particularly important dimension of our project is that there are very few, if any, archival records about the life of the Roma communities, particularly pre-war life. Let's find it. Let's research it. Let's start this process and let's create archival records and funds about the life of the Roma.
Sećanje na Holokaust. Naša savremenost, ali naša kultura sećanja traže od nas odgovore na bitna pitanja iz ne tako daleke prošlosti, koja ne određuje samo pitanje našeg odnosa prema prošlosti, već i najvećoj meri određuju naše poimanje savremenosti u kojoj živimo i poredak vrednosti koje verujemo. Naše kolektivno sećanje na genocid nad jevrejskim narodom izvršen od strane nacista tokom Drugog svjetskog rata određuju nas same. Ta vrsta pamćenja jasno razdvaja dželate, žrtve, dobro i zlo, svetlost i tamu. I ne samo da odaje poštu nevino stradalim ljudima, nego jasno ukazuje na poredak istorijskih činjenica koje sprečavaju proces istorijske revizije u današnjem trenutku. Pitanje stradalnika i pitanje kreatora i izvršilaca zločina u Drugom svjetskom ratu definisano istorijskom istinom, historiografskim faktima i činom stradanja. Svaka vrsta pokušaja istorijske revizije usmerena je na to da se zamagli istina, da se novo stvori iskrivljeno i parcijalno kolektivno pamćenje, pa čak i da se stvori mogućnost da se ti događaji ponove. Zato naše podsjećanje na Holokaust jeste istovremeno i podsjećanje na tragediju Drugog svjetskog rata, ali na onu nacističku ideologiju krvi i tla koja je dovela do Holokausta i proizvela zlo rata i masovno umirane ljudi širom sveta. Naš neprestani govor o temi Holokausta jeste ponovno definisanje istorijske istine, jer težnja ka istorijskoj reviziji onespokojava i žrtve i njihove potomke. Srpski, jevrejski i drugi narodi bili su žrtve mračnih ideologija nacizma i fašizma. Srbi su u Drugom svjetskom ratu također prošli kroz pakao kolektivnog stradanja delići sudbinom svih onih prokaženih nacističkom, fašističkom i ustaškom ideologijom. Srpski narod se tokom Drugog svjetskog rata starao da bude na strani dobra, na strani borbe za slobodu, na strani antifašizma, koji je temeljna ljudska i evropska vrednost i mi smo danas ponosni na to. Zato je naša dužnost da se zajedno sa stradalnim jevrejskim narodom obnavljamo sećanja na tragične ratne događaje sa osnovnom porukom da se oni više nikada, nikome i nigde ne ponove.
My name is Petar Djurdjev, and today I'm saying hello to you from my home. I'm a historian and director of Historical Archives of City of Novi Sad. The Historical Archive of Novi Sad was founded in 1954. We have status of intermunicipality archives, meaning that we are responsible for territory of South Bačka region. In our depots, we are keeping the valuable records and collections which can tell us a lot about life of Jewish community in Novi Sad and its surrounding. In the last 4 years, in cooperation with Terraforming, we have organized a couple of events with the key topics on Shoah and Remembrance on that tragic time. Just in January, again with Terraforming and Cultural Center of City of Novi Sad, we have been co-organizers of international conference as a contribution to commemoration of Novi Sad raid and 75 years since the liberation of Auschwitz-Birkenau. We are determined that in future we are going to take our part in researching of Shoah and developing the new methods of presentation of Holocaust to general public.
The Historical Archives of Sombor is one of the local archives participating in the project. We hope that we'll be able to show through our work during the project the life of Jews in the local community and the region before World War II, materials related to the occupation, documentation of the occupation authorities, victims of World War II, materials related to resistance and to the Jewish community and life in general after liberation, and many other topics that can be found in our archives related to the project.
Smatram da je vrlo važno da se šira javnost upoznaje sa arhivskom građom kojom naš arhiv raspolaže, a pogotovo onom i o jevrejskoj zajednici, da bi se vršile razmjene iskustava sa međunarodnim stručnjacima u proučavanju holokausta.
Dear Miško, Stanišić, dear collaborators in the new project, the Holocaust, European Values and Local History, Local Archives in the European Historical and Cultural Mosaic. Dear IHRA community, dear listeners, I would like to congratulate Miško and his equipe at Terraforming to be able to launch this project even under these very peculiar circumstances. And I'm happy that he found ways to do so. Because with or without Corona, the importance of identifying and safeguard the Holocaust record is always there. Maybe today even more than ever. We all know that difficult times and a rise of anti-Semitism, anti-Gypsyism and other forms of racism go together. I quote from the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance's working definition of Holocaust denial. Holocaust denial in its various forms is an expression of anti-Semitism. The attempt to deny the genocide of the Jews is an effort to exonerate National Socialism and anti-Semitism from guilt or responsibility in the genocide of the Jewish people, unquote. That is why Germany, in its current presidency of IHRA, focuses on the fighting of Holocaust denial and distortion in all its forms. I very much welcome this project Terraform launches today, because it asks the right questions, and I very much hope it will find convincing answers that will serve all of us. Identifying Holocaust record in archives and using it for creating new educational tools will help us to counter Holocaust distortion. In the past, access to archives has sometimes turned out to be difficult. It therefore was a milestone that in March this year the Vatican opened its archives of the time of the pontificate of Pius XII. The Vatican and the IHRA were in close contact on this matter for several years. I would like to thank the Archives of Vojvodina, the main partners in the project, and hosting it, for granting Terraforming ample access. I look forward to any new findings through its work. Corona puts our European values to the test. We must pass this test. What we have learned from Europe's darkest period shall always remind us of our responsibility today. Dear Miško and team, I wish you success for the work ahead.
Although I was born 4 decades after the Holocaust, both in me and in the vast majority of my compatriots, the awareness of the scale and horror of this crime and the compassion for its victims are very much alive and very sharp even today. And no one should be surprised. The people of which I belong and the country to which I wholeheartedly belong have always known to respect and preserve the memory of the innocent victims to whatever nation, confession, or civilization pattern they belonged. And to bring that kind of culture, the culture of memory, to the pedestal of one of the highest own values and most significant human values in general. It may sound paradoxical to someone, but for such an approach that is, in fact, our way of life, the unstoppable flow of time is an irrelevant factor. It is, in fact, deleted by one, but I would say the key word, the word never. No crime, and especially not the largest and most terrible in human history, the Holocaust, should never be forgotten. And the carelessness of oblivion to which we as humans are so inclined must never suppress the memory of any of his victims. and never again such or any crime should be repeated. I'm sure that your conference will be held in this spirit, which is further assured by the fact that you maintain it despite the pandemic of the virus corona that is shaking our entire planet, and that this will be her main message and her main lesson. Finally, let me with joy at the international character of this conference, which clearly speaks to its universal approach, express my pleasure that one of the key bearers of this project is the Archive of Vojvodina. It is one of the most important and a number of institutions founded by Assembly of the Autonomous Province of Vojvodina, institutions whose role and responsibility is in fostering a culture of memory are extremely important, and which, with the realization of this project, justifies them in the best way.
A number of years ago, those of us at the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance launched a project looking at the ways archives made or didn't make archival materials related to the Holocaust available to patrons. We went into the project with a number of assumptions, foremost among them the belief that there would be a general, if not unspoken, desire to avoid the past, thus limiting the access of individuals to Holocaust records. What we found instead was a lack of awareness about the significance of archival holdings and how to make them intelligible for researchers and for a wider audience, as well as restrictive laws in a few countries that made access difficult. Now at the IHRA, we were able to address the laws in part, namely through amending aspects of the General Data Protection Regulation to ensure access to these materials and those of other genocidal events in the European past. But the next step is really to develop a partnership between civil society and governments to make these records known and how to understand them. The project on the Holocaust, European values, and local history is important because it brings together record holders and educators to develop new approaches to sharing these histories in ways that can speak to the relevance of the history, as well as shape the ways that we remember the past. It does so by bringing the history to a local level, by making it something that's shared across national borders. And this is important because personalizing this past develops a shared experience, and it can also yield another benefit, namely by building awareness of the Holocaust today, as well as those of related atrocities. Such awareness can push back against denial and distortion of the Holocaust, thereby limiting the reach of anti-Semitism and associated forms of hatred. For these reasons, and for many more, I congratulate my colleagues at the Archives of Vojvodina, as well as my friends at Terraforming for launching this important initiative.
Hello. It's an honor for us to participate in this great project about the role of the local archives in the European historical and cultural mosaic. We think this is a very, very important project because we ourselves have made the experience that it is only through the materials that you can find in the different regional and local archives that you really can bring historical sources alive. We have here in our center collected lots and lots of material and still keep collecting these materials from smaller collections and bring them together. And only when you can see all these things together do you really get a very good picture of what is going on. But I think I can stress here, and this is a general Austrian experience, that it is especially in education where this important role of local archives and local materials becomes so clear. Austria has many years ago, 20 years ago actually, initiated an educational program in cooperation with historians like ourselves, where they have started to prepare educational materials about the big historical topics, and they have been broken down to the regional level. So for each big topic, there are examples in the different regions which are taken from the different regional and local collections. And this means that when this subject is being taught to the children in the different regions, they don't hear about a general development and they don't hear about something that has happened somewhere far away in the capital or in another part of town, but they hear what it really means here. And in the context of the Holocaust, it usually means which were the families from your town that got deported, what happened to them, who survived, who perished, are there any survivors living today maybe in Israel, do they know something about the history of their family in your city, or in the other topic which I am concerned with very much is the history of the local Roma communities. So for many, many years we had no idea, and neither did the surviving Roma families have an idea what happened to their relatives. We knew that they had been deported to Poland mostly, and we knew that they perished there in German concentration and extermination camps, but we didn't know who went where. And only by collecting the different small materials from the local archives, from different local archives, we could trace certain persons. And all of a sudden, for these families, there now is a clear story that they know our relatives, they are buried there and there and there in this part of Poland. And now they have a grave that they can go to. And this has become very, very important. So I think the step that historical research has taken in the last years, which is to go from the big centralized archives down into the local level, to the regional level, and make use of the material and the very rich material that is there, was one of the major big moves in historical research and also in making use of this on the educational level.
It's my great pleasure to wish you success for the project The Holocaust, European Values and Local History. It's supported by IHRA, and as a German diplomat, I'm pleased to have such a great initiative, such a great project during the German IHRA chair here in Serbia. I'm convinced that it is very important to commemorate the past, especially such monstrous crimes as the Holocaust, because we must never allow anything like it to happen again. And I know from my own experience that it's also very important to focus on local stories. When I was a kid, I worked in a school project on victims in my hometown, Herford, in Germany. I learned about local Jewish people and also about forced laborers from Poland who were kept at local farms. We browsed shelves in our city archive to learn about these people and their fates. And that really got under my skin, much more than any textbook or movie in the classroom would have. And of course, for sharing our experience, networks of international cooperation are also needed. IHRA, I think, is the most important of these networks. But back to the local level, congrats to Archives of Vojvodina and Terraforming for this great project, and the best of luck.
I am very happy to take part in the launching of the project, The Holocaust, European Values and Local History, developed by the Archives of Vojvodina and Terraforming NGO from Novi Sad. Although virtual, that event is real, concrete, and tangible. The project aims to empower and train archivists to create own educational outreach programs about the life before and the times during the Holocaust, based on own archival materials and local history, presenting local micro-histories to global audiences. During the next 24 months, partners from many countries, including Serbia and Israel, in cooperation with the local Jewish and Roma communities, will exchange best practices and support a coalition of archives in Vojvodina with the aim to gather experiences for future implementation of similar programs in local archives around Europe. I would like to thank and wish success to the Province of Vojvodina, Archives of Vojvodina, Terraforming, and the Foundation Novi Sad 2021, as this project is embedded in the official program of the European Capital of Culture Novi Sad 2021.
I'd like to congratulate the project, the Holocaust, European Values and Local History, for commencing this very important initiative. 75 years after the liberation of the death camps, the generation of survivors are diminishing and receding into history themselves. That leaves only the archives and the historical record to establish what really happened in the Holocaust. At a time when the Holocaust itself, the very record of what happened, is being distorted for political purposes in many countries and has become part of political propaganda, it is all the more necessary to establish what happened in the Holocaust internationally, nationally, and on the local level. This project is a very strong initiative in that direction by engaging students, teachers, and the community to research and find out what happened in the ground in their communities and during the Holocaust. It takes the Holocaust, the facts of the Holocaust, out of the archives and into the classroom and into the community, thus establishing on the ground the local record of what really happened during the dark period. Only in that way can we begin to confront the past, to learn the lessons that is necessary to move forward.
The Jewish Museum in Prague includes a library and a Shoah documentation archive. The archive consists before all of survivor interviews which we use for education programs in our institution. A few years ago, based on the experiences from our museum, Czech local schools started their own project seeking for the information about Jewish families from their towns and villages. For the purpose, they opened school archives, visited local archives, and found personal stories, pictures, and memories of the former pupils and students. A great project, Neighbors Who Disappeared, was based on this work, and participating students made together with the Jewish Museum in Prague an exhibition of the same name, which is now distributed to the Czech educational institutions. I understand this kind of activity as the purpose of our work. I think it's important to share international or educational materials and programs we use for combating anti-Semitism. One example I would like to share is a project focused on students from apprentice schools we started 6 years ago. Each student participates in a workshop which focuses on actual anti-Semitism manifestations on internet, football matches and events he is likely to join. He also passes through a guided tour in our museum, including a Holocaust memorial for Jewish victims from our lands. The program is free of charge thanks to the Prague City Hall. From 2015, we supported almost 6,000 Prague students who mostly wouldn't visit our institution by their own. I'm looking forward to work with all of you on this project and thank you for including us to the Holocaust, European Values and Local History project.
The Holocaust meant the death of 6 million European Jews. After World War II, many historians and researchers began to investigate it in a comprehensive manner. In doing so, they based themselves on available materials in large national and local archives. It is these local archives that are currently the key to deeper exploration in the area of the Holocaust, which we can understand on several levels. In general, we understand it as a murder of 6 million European Jews. We can, however, continue with deeper research and focus on the killing of Jews in various countries, for example, Slovakia, Serbia, Hungary, and Poland. Investigate these countries, individual regions, or focus on specific cities, town, or village in which these communities live. Through local archives, we can achieve a better grasp of this issue and find various specifics and differences in individual locations, and also better compile individual stories of people from these locations. Local archives can also have potential in the area of education regarding the genocide of Roma. Above all, it is necessary to focus on places and locales where the Roma community lived and had a presence. Through such archives, we can, for example, document repressive measures that applied to them, materials, photos, documents, personal letters located in archives can be used in the educational process.
I want to thank Dr. Nebojša Kuzmanović for inviting me to say a few words before you begin your program today. The title of the project that you will be dealing with and discussing is long. I will not mention it here now because you all know it, but it is a project that has been developed and managed by the Archives of Vojvodina, directed by Mr. Kuzmanović, and the Terraforming organization, with the cooperation of many other European, international, and Serbian institutions. I would like only to stress a few points or highlight a few points regarding this project. The first one is that both Serbia and Israel have very strong reasons to commemorate the genocide and the Holocaust that was perpetrated during World War II, and now I'm talking specifically about the arena of Yugoslavia, the Yugoslav arena. Second, we all know that the generation that survived these tragic events is almost gone, but they have left us a very big number of testimonies, of life stories, of facts on the micro historic level, but also on other levels, which are very important. Third, it is up to us today, What do we do with all of what they have left us, with all the research that has already been done? Especially today with the current trend of revisionism of history. And the microhistories are very important to be integrated into the macrohistoric framework. Finally, I cannot overstress the importance of archives in all of these endeavors. I wish you all the success and a pleasant experience of the beautiful city of Novi Sad, the future European cultural capital in 2021. Thank you.
As a person researching Jewish subjects in literature, as a member of the Jewish community in Novi Sad, and above all as a descendant of the Holocaust survivor, I want to emphasize the importance of the project we are launching. It is not just a contribution to the historical science. It is a necessary segment without which it is impossible to understand the world we live in or to contribute to making it better tomorrow. This world was always been made up of individuals with their individual lives and destinies. A few years ago, a message was sent from Yad Vashem. Remembering the past is shaping the future. I believe it is still up to date. So, good health to all of you and success to the project.
Romska redakcija Radio Televizije Vojvodine je zvaničan partner na ovom projektu. Skupljaju se priče Roma pre i tokom Drugog svjetskog rata. Tako ćemo zabeležiti, arhivirati i otrgnuti od zaborava živote, kulturu jednog naroda tokom ovog perioda. I ono što je najbitnije jeste da uđe u edukaciju zajedno sa pričama ostalih stanovnika Vojvodine.
Many years ago, the famous and beloved Serbian writer of Sephardic Jewish origin, David al-Bahari, said that the most worrying thing about the Holocaust is that in spite of thousands of scientific researches and pieces of art, we cannot still provide an answer to such a simple question: how could it ever have happened? Out of all, nonetheless, there was something unique that was destroyed. Something that cannot have been either fixed or repaired. Those were Jewish cultures, local religious and secular traditions, sometimes to the level of a single shtetl, Jewish arts, and finally their languages. I have no doubt whatsoever that this heritage will be often subject of the project connecting archive work with education. In order to understand what was destroyed in the Holocaust, we need to acknowledge what had existed prior to it firstly. Today, the archives are one of the most precious sources for this very purpose. I wish the very best of success to the Vojvodina Archive and Terraforming Talu Vetatzlehu.
Local and communal archives in the different European countries are holding presumably millions of historical documents concerning Jewish life, the Holocaust and the aftermaths on the local level. For example, files of registry offices and local newspapers can give us information of the pre-war life of Jewish communities, families and individuals. Documents of the German occupying power, the SS or local collaborating administrations give us insights of the persecution and the organization of the genocide. Lists of survivors early testimonies, and court files can address the life of the survivors and also show how the respective society dealt with the Holocaust and the perpetrators after liberation. I think these documents, which reflect the developments in communities, towns, cities, and regions, can help us to get a better understanding of the Holocaust in 3 different ways. First, these sources may show us in detail how the Holocaust happened and how it affected concrete communities. They also might show us who was involved in the crimes and help us to get a clearer picture of the structure and the unfolding of the Holocaust as an European event. Second, microhistorical sources often address personal stories, glimpses of biographies of those who got killed and the few who survived. In other words, they refer to the individual experiences of the victims, which are also part of an integrated history of the Holocaust. Third and finally, these sources and local history as such can also help us to identify differences and particularities of that history. This is essential for a differentiated understanding of the Holocaust in the whole, which, for example, includes the non-conformity of the experiences of the victims due to place, time, and circumstances of the persecution. Against this background, I think it is important to identify historical documents of the Holocaust in the different archives and make them accessible for research. And of course, combine this research with other complement sources in other archives. Finally, one thought about historical education. Local archives around Europe, which are holding even small numbers of Holocaust sources, are obvious places for education. Students can do research in the archive and explore and evaluate the documents. In the sense of research-based learning, it is an open process, where they engage themselves as historians, consult other archives, and, with the help of archivists and educators, develop own research contributions. I think there's a huge potential for local archives to engage in this archival pedagogical approach. All the best for this great project.
As you probably know, Novi Sad holds a title of European Capital of Culture for the year 2021. For New Bridges is our slogan, but also our program mission. Within this slogan, we intend to build and recreate bridges with our past in order to preserve our local and national identity. The project Holocaust, European Values and Local History is imminent part of our official program Novi Sad 2021 because it nurtures culture of remembrance on Holocaust, one of the most important points and tragedies in all human history.
As a history teacher, I believe that teaching about the Holocaust should have an important place in educational system of each country. I also find it very important to establish cooperation between schools and archives. For history teachers and their students, the archives is the place where they can have a direct encounter with the historical sources. Documents from the archive can be in a very interesting way to reconstruct the history of ordinary people, but also the past of the entire community and their pain and suffering during the Holocaust.
Let me start by saying that Museum of Jewish Culture was very eager to become a partner in what seems to be an interesting and important European project. Museum of Jewish Culture, like any other museums in the world, is trying to keep the historical memory alive. That includes the history of the Jewish communities, including the horrors and tragedies of the Holocaust during the Second World War. For the museums, one of the most important sources are the archival records.
They serve as the window to the past, and it is of great importance for us as a museum institution to cooperate with our archives. This is also one of the most important tasks of this project. That's why we are very happy to join and encourage the local archives to cooperate on a much larger scale than by now. And we are happy that this is going to take place also internationally. Hopefully soon we'll be all able to join also in person. All the best.
The Holocaust Memorial Center in Budapest is an institution for Holocaust education, research and remembrance. It focuses on the events and particularities of the Holocaust in Hungary, but of course is a part of the Holocaust history in general. The fate of the Jewish people in Hungary was decided both on national and on international level by the Hungarian authorities and by the German authorities. However, the individual destiny of a Jewish person or a Jewish family very much depended on the local authorities. The decisions of these local authorities have been recorded, and not just the decisions, but the consequences of these decisions are recorded and preserved in the local archives. By opening up these archives, by processing the most relevant materials in them, the true history of the Holocaust on people's level will be revealed, underpinned by solid and unquestionable evidence that could be put into the function of combating distortion and denial, as well as in the function of Holocaust education, leading to a better understanding of Holocaust history on national and local level, and by extension on the European level as well. Based on all this, we are at the Holocaust Memorial Center in Budapest enthusiastic about this project and looking forward very much to cooperate with the local archives in Vojvodina and the other partners in this project. And we are grateful for all the support that enables us to work through this project.
Grüß Gott und hallo, mein Name ist Michaela Küchler, ich bin Präsidentin der International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance IHRA und Sonderbeauftragte für Holocaust-Erinnerung im Auswärtigen Amt der Bundesrepublik Deutschland.
Mitt navn er Christian V, jeg er direktør ved Falstadsenteret og tidligere leder for IHRAs Museums and Memorial-gruppe. Jeg vil ønske Archives of Vojvodina og Terraforming hjertelig til lykke med det viktige arrangementet dere har foran dere. Takk.
Dobar dan, ja sam dr. Milan Koljanin, istoričar iz Beograda, viši naučni saradnik, član delegacije Republike Srbije u Međunarodnoj alijansi za sećanje na Holokaust i pozdravljam vas sa svog radnog mesta i svog stana.
Bonjour, je suis Dominique Vidot, directeur de la Maison des Yeux,
mémorial des enfants juifs exterminés. Ce mémorial se situe près de Lyon, en France. La Maison d'Isieux est heureuse de s'associer à votre événement et nous vous souhaitons un grand succès. Vous pouvez compter sur nous dans ce combat contre l'antisémitisme et le racisme en Europe.
Greetings from Berlin. My name is Antje Scheidler and I work for Humanity in Action here in Germany. Together with Terraforming and many other organizations, we're a member of the European network Countering Anti-Semitism Through Education. It is so important to continue our work even in these difficult times when we can't meet in person, and going virtual is a very good idea. So we wish you a successful meeting, stay healthy, stay safe, and bye-bye.
Moje štorom, ja sam Aleksandrović Aleksandra, trajivam do Novi Sad. Me motavam da je romska redakcija radio televizijaci Vojvodinaci.
Hello, my name is Mark Weitzman. I'm Director of Government Affairs for the Simon Wiesenthal Center, and I'm recording this at my home in New Rochelle, New York in the United States.
שלום, dobar dan, hello. שמי אלכסנדר ניקוליץ', קונסול כבוד של רפובליקת סרביה במדינת ישראל, וחבר בעמותה של מורשת קהילת ביטול המונסטיר, עמותה רשומה.
Hi, my name is Emrah Küchler from Kiga, Berlin, Germany. Terraforming is a great partner. We are working together at ENCATA, European Network. Unfortunately, we are not there, but we wish you the best for the new project.
Dobar dan, pozdrav svima. Ja sam Aleksandar Todosijević, nastavnik istorije, predsjednik sam Udruženja za društvenu istoriju Euroclio. Trenutno se nalazim u Beogradu u svom stanu gde radim I obavljam svakodnevne poslove.
Hallo, ich heiße Akim Shah und arbeite als wissenschaftlicher Mitarbeiter bei den Arolsen Archives, einer internationalen Einrichtung mit Sitz im hessischen Bad Arolsen in Deutschland. Zurzeit bin ich im Homeoffice in meiner Wohnung in Berlin.
Dobar dan, ja sam Dragana Milošević, pokrajinski sekretar za kulturu, javno informisanje I odnose sa verskim zajednicama. Javljam vam se sa svog radnog mesta iz zgrade pokrajinske vlade, čiji sam član I u čije ime vas najsrdačnije pozdravljam.
Dobar dan. Zovem se Alona Fisher-Kamm, ja sam ambasadorka Izraela u Srbiji, živim u Beogradu.
Hallo, guten Tag, schöne Grüße aus Wien. Mein Name ist Gerhard Baumgartner. Ich bin der Direktor des Dokumentationsarchivs des österreichischen Widerstandes.
Dobrý deň, moje meno je Michal Vanek, som zástupcom riaditeľa Múzea židovskej kultúry v Bratislave a pozdravujem vás zo svojej pracovne.
Hello, my name is Dr. Robert Williams of the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum. I'm also chair of the Committee on Anti-Semitism and Holocaust Denial at the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance, speaking to you due to the epidemic from my home outside of Washington, D.C.
Hello, my name is Vidaković-Petrov, and I'm a Serbian scholar in Jewish studies and also former ambassador of Serbia and Yugoslavia in Israel.
Én Tóth Heinemann Zoltán vagyok, a Budapesti Holokauszt Emlékközpont munkatársa, és most az egészségügyi helyzet miatt itthonról dolgozom.
Dobar dan, šaljem vam prijateljske pozdrave iz mog doma u Novom Sadu. Moje ime je Lazar Jovanov, ja sam rukovodilac umetničkog tima Fondacije Novi Sad 2021, Evropska predstavnica kulture.
Hallo, ich bin Doro Gieselmann, die Stellvertreterin des deutschen Botschafters in Serbien und ich arbeite im Moment von zu Hause.
Dobar dan, ja sam dr. Gordana Todorić, naučni saradnik Filozofskog fakulteta u Novom Sadu, istraživač saradnik Ben Gurion univerziteta, član Jevrejske opštine Novi Sad. Pozdravljam vas iz svog stana, svog radnog prostora u Novom Sadu.
Dobar dan, ja se zovem Petar Djurdjev, po profesiji sam istoričar I poslednjih 7 godina direktor Istorijskog arhiva grada Novog Sada. Iskoristit ću ovu priliku da vam poželim svako dobro.
Moje ime je Stevan Mačković I ja sam direktor Istorijskog arhiva Subotica I javljam se upravo iz moje kancelarije.
Dobar dan, ja sam Anastazija Mako I radim kao archivista u Istorijskom archivu Sombor.
Dobrý den, jmenuji se Zuzana Pavlovská a pracuji v Židovském muzeu v Praze jako vedoucí oddělení pro vzdělávání a kulturu. Tento rok jsem také předsedkyní vzdělávací pracovní skupiny v rámci Mezinárodní aliance památky holokaustu IHRA a zdravím vás z domova z Prahy.
My name is Martin Korčok and I'm the head of the Sereď Holocaust Museum in Slovakia.
Dobar dan, ja se zovem Miško Stanišić i direktor sam organizacije Terraforming iz Novog Sada i trenutno se nalazim u svom stanu u Novom Sadu.
Dobar dan, ja sam dr. Nebojša Kuzmanović, direktor Arhiva Vojvodine, javljam se iz Novog Sada.